Hello, I'm Carol Dantzler and welcome to the I-9 coding course. Our objective today is to learn how to use our I-9 coding book. I-9 diagnoses codes are used in all healthcare settings. I-9 procedure codes are only used for inpatient hospital procedures only. This is the I-9 coding book. You will need the professional edition for this course, volumes 1, 2, and 3. Get out your code book and turn to the official I-9 coding guidelines. These are the coding guidelines that the coder must use in order to assign the appropriate codes. Next, we have the index to diseases. The index to diseases are ranged from A to Z, and these are all the diagnoses and conditions. For instance, if you're looking for appendicitis, you go to the A's and look up appendicitis. Next, we have the alphabetical listing of the drugs and chemical table. The drugs and chemical table are used when the patient has any type of adverse effect to a drug or there's a poisoning. Then we have the index to external causes. So this is the alphabetical index for external causes. An external cause would be, an example would be a patient that, let's say, fell out of a tree and broke their arm. The external cause for that would be fall out of a tree. So these are called index to external causes, and these are arranged in alphabetical order. Next, we have the tabular list. The tabular list is arranged numerically, and it identifies the condition. For instance, we were looking for appendicitis earlier, so you would go to the tabular list and look for the numerical value for appendicitis. Next, we have one of our supplementary classification codes. And I-9 has supplementary classification codes, and this is your V codes. V codes are used when a patient has an encounter with a healthcare provider. They're not sick, they just have an encounter with a provider. Example might be the patient goes in for an annual exam. They simply had an encounter and a V code is assigned. Our next classification, supplementary classification code are the E codes. This is a tabular list for the E codes. Earlier we saw the alphabetical index for E codes. So this is the tabular list. This is a numerical value. All of these codes start with E. That's why they're called E codes. Again, external causes. An example, again, would be a patient that has, let's say they're involved in a motor vehicle accident. They fracture their hip. There would be two codes assigned, one for the fractured hip, then you would assign one for the involvement in the motor vehicle accident to show that's how they sustain the fracture. So it's called E codes. E codes are optional. They're not mandatory. Most teaching facilities or large research facilities like to use the E codes because they get so much of their data and statistics from E codes. So E codes provide statistical information. Next, we have index to procedures. Index to procedures. The index to procedures are alphabetical, and this is a list of all the procedures from A to Z. So for that same patient earlier that had an appendicitis, if they had their appendix removed, we would come to the A's, look up appendectomy. Next is the procedure tabular list for procedures. So we've already said that the patient had their appendix removed. We went to the alphabetical index. Now we're going to the tabular list to select the corresponding numerical value for appendectomy. That concludes the structure and format of your AC9 coding book. I hope you have found this session helpful.